What is up, world? I'm back again for day 6 of the 10-day album cover challenge. I'm going to talk to you about what is by far the most controversial pick that I'm going to have. And I can already assume what some of you guys are saying. This one is straight from the king of controversy himself, the king of the Midwest, Kanye West's Graduation from 2007 is definitely one of my favorites. And I can already hear people, it's not even the best Kanye album. It's not one of the best hip-hop albums. How could you put this on the same list as Pink Floyd? And guess what? You can't tell me nothing. So I downloaded this album actually the day that it came out. I listened to it every day for like a month straight. And it came out in the beginning of my sophomore year of high school. Kanye, he never really felt like a mainstream rapper to me because most of the songs that were popular in mainstream rap at the time were like Ballin' and Crank That was big the year before. So Kanye he always felt like he was above that. This album also is responsible for one of my favorite rap beefs of all time because 50 Cent actually said that he would not put out another album if the album that he was dropping that day was outsold by Graduation. So sure enough, Graduation definitely was far and away the winner. I don't even remember any of the songs from the album 50 Cent put out to compete with this. I first heard Kanye's music when I was in 6th grade, and he put out The College Dropout. That album, I loved all the big singles, and on his second album, even still today, one of my all-time favorite Kanye songs is Diamonds Are Forever. Do not kid yourself. This album is a masterpiece, and it was highly influential on hip-hop and pop music. So today, you'll hear the sound of these big 70s and 80s synthesizers in pop music, especially stuff that was produced by Benny Benassi and Dr. Luke. But Kanye, I feel, is responsible for that sound really coming into the mainstream with this album. He basically was taking the classic Kanye soul sampled beat style and then adding these synths in as a new element that he hadn't really done before, and it created this new sound that became really popular. And he even actually has a song called Stronger on here with Daft Punk, which Daft Punk's, their music is really kind of centered around using those style of synthesizers, and Daft Punk is one of the biggest names in dance music altogether. So today we hear like hip hop and a lot of pop music mixed with house music, EDM style stuff. This is the first song that I remember becoming hugely popular with any elements of that style mixed in with hip hop. The entire album is a highlight in and of itself. It's very difficult to pick specific tracks. If you want feel-good party music, put this album on. The album starts off with Good Morning, which is like the sound of a man who knows he's made it, waking up and getting ready for the day. It sets the momentum for the rest of the album, and it's really simple, but it has this banging 808 kick drum throughout the entire song that just puts this driving force behind the rest of the album. To me, Champion sounds like Kanye going ahead and taking a morning walk around his neighborhood, saying hi to all his friends, knowing he made it, but also reflecting on his upbringing. It has a really catchy Steely Dan sample, and Kanye also establishes himself as the new Lauryn Hill. It's a cool line in there. Everybody knows the single The Good Life because it was hugely overplayed when it came out, but that song actually grew on me more and more as I got older and listened to this album more and more. It is now one of my favorites on the album, although I kind of disliked it at first because it has this sound that reminded me of Elmo, like wow, 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 wow. I don't know, it sounds like Elmo, but I like it now. I didn't like it when the album first came out, just because I heard that song so many times. Can't Tell Me Nothing is the best song on this album, and in my opinion, the best Kanye West song. The same thing that he's saying today, he was saying 11 years ago. He's been telling us this for over 10 years. But now, listen to the lyrics. He says, wait till I get my money right. Kanye West got his money. Got his money. Kanye West got his money. He's married to Kim Kardashian. He's gonna make up his own mind and do what he wants and follow what he thinks is right. The beat to this song sounds like it's made for electric royalty, and really it's like Kanye made his own red carpet to his own future that we're all now living in. And that's what this song is. And he taught us this 11 years ago. Lil Wayne has a guest verse on Barry Bonds. That was the first time I actually ever heard Lil Wayne. I was a little late to the party, but in the next couple months after this album dropped, Lil Wayne would become the biggest superstar in the rap world, and you really couldn't turn on the radio without hearing Wheezy Baby. Kanye's sarcasm on this song is totally on point. One of my favorite lines, he says, I'm insulted, you should go ahead and bow so hard till your knees hit your forehead. And I was like, that's just a badass line. I know a lot of people are gonna say Kanye West is not a top 5 MC, but to me, he's number 1. Flashing Lights is actually a really close runner-up for my favorite Kanye song of all time. I remember I actually got to see Kanye on the tour for this album. It was with NERD, Lupe Fiasco, and Rihanna. And during Flashing Lights, Kanye was dressed up in this like futuristic robot army general uniform, just dancing around the stage like Michael Jackson. But the craziest light show was going on. And I know that concert is kind of fuzzy in my memory, but it was absolutely a blast. And I remember actually just like getting along with a bunch of people that I didn't even normally talk to in high school. It was just one of those great events that I always have great memories when I think back about that concert. And that song in particular just takes me right back to it. The back half of this album slows down and it gets a little bit more serious, but Kanye's still really sarcastic on songs like Everything I Am. And then Homecoming has Chris Martin from Coldplay singing the hook. Coldplay was my absolute least favorite band at the time. I really despised their music, but again, I listened to this song and I was able to really vibe with it. It was actually one of my favorites when I first heard the album. And I remember it was the ringtone on my LG Envy, the orange version. Kanye ends the album with Big Brother, which that song gives me goosebumps, especially listening to it now. It's kind of like Kanye is declaring the end of his soul beat era, and he's saying he wants to step out on his own. He really like came up under that sound under No ID, who he talks about in this song. Additionally, he talks about his relationship with Jay-Z, which again, especially now that they're growing further and further apart, it's just a cool song to listen to and think back about all the great music that the two of them made together. And you know, hopefully they make more, because they're two of my favorite rappers of all time. Reasonable Doubt is definitely one of the coolest albums of all time as well. As a producer, I try to mimic the synth sounds on this album a lot. I love how Kanye mixes strings in with his synths, especially on Flashing Lights. And Can't Tell Me Nothing almost has like synth horns on it that sound really cool. And normally they don't. Normally synth horns sound goofy, but I really like the sound that Kanye is able to accomplish by being an expert music producer. He's, in my opinion, again, probably my favorite music producer and definitely my favorite hip hop producer. So let me know if this is one of your favorite albums. Is it even your favorite Kanye album? Do you even like Kanye West? If not, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a big smile on your face, and I will see you again tomorrow for day 7.